New Year's Eve. This story has already happened. My story started on New Year's Day. My two friends and I wanted to do new things to break the usual routine every year to do, like going out for a walk in the same places. But this year I had prepared something new. I have been working on it for months, and I read a lot about it and watched many foreign and Arabic videos until the right time came for implementation, which is New Year's Day. On this day, I met my friends, and they were at the same perplexity. Where are we going? I answered them very enthusiastically. What would you think if I made you do something new and different this year? At this time, I saw curiosity in their eyes, and all of them, without hesitation, agreed, and some of them did not agree. My name is Maher. My age at the time of the story was 24, and my two friends are the same age as me. Their names are Nasser and Adel. We had almost the same hobbies and interests. Even our trifles were the same. Even in what we did, our thinking was the same, and no one advised from the other. It all started on New Year's Day. We got into my car, and they were getting more curious, and I told them to be patient until we got to my dead grandmother's apartment. And the apartment had no one in it, and it was always closed. They were wondering and asking me why they came here. I replied to them, just come in, and I'll explain everything to you. I entered in front of them, and they entered behind me. And as soon as they entered the apartment, I saw the surprise in their eyes from what they saw. Huge candles are red and short everywhere on the earth, and there are drawings among the wax, and a book is placed on top of these drawings, and before their curiosity increases and turns into fear that makes them hesitate, I began to explain to them and said to them, without much talking, we will prepare gin. And contrary to what I expected them to object or discuss with me, they were very happy with this idea, but they asked me, how? I reassured them and told them, a long time ago, I have been working on this topic. We will prepare the required now, and at 12 o'clock in the beginning of a new year, we will start everything as it is written in this book. It is also written that what we are going to do will make us summon one of the ruling elves, and from him we will know anything we want or do anything for us.
And already we started the implementation, where we lit the wax, where there was a very large number and placed on the ground in the form of a 6-pointed star. And we turned off the lights before 12 o'clock by 5 minutes and sat down amid the wax or star in the form of a circle in front of the drawings that we drew. And each of us put his hand in each other's hand, and I warned them that no matter what happens, one of us does not leave the other's hand without telling me. When the clock struck 12, it started. I started muttering words from the book, and automatically each of us presses on each other's hand involuntarily. And everyone is nervous and ready for anything to appear, but when and where we don't know. And I keep muttering and repeating the determination until I completed the 7 times as written in the book. Then we felt hot air swirling around us quickly in the form of a spiral. I started shaking the wax burners and extinguishing candle after candle until the whole place became dark. At this time, we heard the sound of a cat coming from the bathroom. At the same time, Nasser wrenched his hand from our hands, and he got up and opened the light and said, "Who is the sound of this cat coming?" I nervously answered him, "I assured you that neither of us would let go of the other's hand. Why did you do that?" I heard a voice in my ear saying, "You're all going to die." I heard this and stood silent for a moment, and then I tried to convince them that it's fantasies. But I know it's not fantasies, especially I. We all looked for this cat, but we didn't find it. But we found the floor in front of the bathroom with a lot of red liquid that was not there before. We closed the apartment and kept walking around the street by car in order to forget what happened. I drove them all to their house, but along the way I feel that I am not alone. I feel that there is someone with me in the car, and it was very hot even though we are in winter. And I was walking in the car. I suddenly hit the brakes when I found a black cat standing in front of me and looked at the car and came towards me without fear. I hit the brakes fast, but I had hit it. But it was a big collision, like I hit an elephant. I came down quickly, looked for the cat, but I didn't find her. I kept going around the car and looking for her, but
I heard her voice coming from the sidewalk. I looked and found her standing and looking at me with a face showing anger. But why, I don't know. What terrified me was that it was the same cat that I grabbed from the street, and I slaughtered it and took its blood to paint on the floor before my friends came to the apartment. At this time, it started to make a terrifying sound, so I got into my car quickly and rushed home. I came home terrified. Even my parents were talking to me, and I didn't answer them until I walked into my room and closed the door from the inside. And I don't know what to do in this misfortune that I put myself and my friends in. I tried to sleep, but to no avail, and at the same time my eyes were open. And I couldn't open my eyes, and I couldn't move from the bed. I felt that there was something enough for me, and at the same time I heard my mother's voice calling me to eat, but I couldn't answer her. But the strange thing was that my mother's voice, calling, had a cat's voice. I hear both voices at the same time, and they shut up at the same time. When I was silent, I rushed to show my mother. I found the whole apartment dark. I went to turn on the light, but I found something strange. The floor felt like it was full of soft hair under my feet. When I turned on the light, the floor was already all cat hair. I went towards my father and mother's room, and there I heard a voice coming from inside. Oh my God! It's the same cat's voice. I opened the door quickly and found the cat standing at Mom and Dad's head. When she came in, she ran out of the room, and I was afraid I was going to fall on my back. I woke up Mom and Dad and told them that I went in to check on them and then left them to continue their sleep. I went back to my room and I was going crazy from where I was. I tried to call my friends to make sure that what was happening was it was only me or it was happening to them too, but none of them answered me. So I kept sitting on the bed thinking about everything that happened until I fell asleep. The next day I got up and my whole body ached, and I feel a burning sensation in certain places in my body. I got up to take a shower and found some scratches in all my body. I finished and went to check on my friends. I first passed by Nasser because he lives alone. His parents were traveling outside the country. I kept ringing the doorbell a lot, but no one answered, and then I went down to ask the security officer. He told me that Nasser hadn't come down since yesterday. I left him the news that I came to him and went to a fair house. When I arrived, I heard a lot of crying in the apartment, and women dressed in black asked, and I was terrified, "Who died here?" Then the response came as a shock. "It's fair." And when I asked about the cause of death, they said that they were taking him to the doctor at night because his temperature was high. And when they asked for an ambulance and Adele got on, he suddenly closed and kept climbing at an insane speed to the last floor. And suddenly the ambulance cabin was interrupted, and Adele fell inside. They said that they were hearing the sound of a cat, and when they opened, they found a black cat sitting next to Adele's body. Her eyes were black and then ran away when he opened the door. Oh my God, it's the same specifications as the cat that shows me. We went to the funeral. I met Nasser at the funeral. He found out about the news from Facebook. I approached him and I asked him, "Why are you missing and not answering the phone?" He told me this is not the time to talk when the funeral was over, and I was praying to Nasser. I noticed that his hands had wounds similar to the wounds on my body. I want to warn him, but at the same time I'm afraid that nothing has happened to him. All I could tell him was take care of yourself, and if you feel anything strange, call me immediately. After the funeral, there was a place I had to go before things got any worse. It's my grandmother's apartment where it all started in order to find my way in the damn book. Already I went to the apartment and everything was as we left it. I grabbed the book in order to find in it any way or explanation of where we are. I found important words that I didn't care about at first and carried out the summoning method without attention. I found the scripture says that when the intention is realized, it opens parallel gates between the worlds of the jinn world and the human world. And during the time when the intention is repeated 7 times, every time the intention is said, the intention passes through one of the 7 gates that are between us and them, until it reaches our world. And if there is any malfunction in the ritual, one of 2 things can happen. Either the person is burned or locked in the body of the medium in which he incarnates at the time of arrival, And in these two cases, who was the cause of the malfunction, or who interested them? And here I understood that when Nasser opened the circle, there was a malfunction in the resolve, and the globe was locked in the cat's body, and the gate was closed, and he could not return to his world again. To make sure, I got up and looked in the bathroom at the cat that I had slaughtered, but I couldn't find it. It has now become inevitable that whoever came from this gate will take revenge on us. And this means that there is a danger for Nasser, and what happened to Adele will happen to him. But I must find a solution. At this time, I remembered that there was an elder with whom I was attending religious lectures, and indeed I turned to him. But I could not find him. I asked about him, and they said that he was on a trip and would return in 2 days. I took his phone number and called him and told him everything, but he scolded me for what I had done, and gave me things to do and read for immunization until he got back from traveling. I immediately went home, started these steps that he told me to, and tried to call Nasser, to tell him to do this too, but he does not answer his phone. When I put my body on the bed, I could not move. All I could move in my body was my neck and eyes, although the door of the room was closed, but I could see what was behind him clearly. There was a bathroom, and the bathroom bulb was coming out of it. The ugliest cat I had ever seen coming out of the bathroom, and its shadow on the floor is very long because of the lighting that behind her, and she kept making the same horrible, scary sound. Her legs were not touching the ground. She was raised, and once she reached the halfway point, I found white smoke filling the place around her, and the cat became a shadow of black that has no features. And as soon as I reached the end of my bed and put her hand on my head, and I wanted to scream, but I couldn't, and when she put her hands on my head, I felt that there was a severe cold that entered my body, and my body kept rising, and I felt electricity running in my body. She remained in this position until she fainted. I woke up on the second day and looked at my phone, and found the sheikh had called me more than once. And Nasser was the other one I called Nasser, but his phone was turned off at us. And I called the sheikh to see what he wanted, and I found him telling me that he had cut off his travel because what I told him was not easy. We made an agreement to meet at Nasser's house, and indeed I met him there and asked Nasser, the security person who was there. He said that he had not come out since the funeral. Then we broke down the apartment door and started calling him. But no one answered until we found him in the kitchen. But he's not on the floor. He's hanging from the ceiling. He hanged himself and his whole body is full of scraps. I kept crying. I said he was calling me to save him, but I couldn't. The sheikh said to me that we must immunize you so that this damned one who passed through the gate could not harm you. We went home, and the sheikh read things he immunizes me with and remained in this situation for a month, coming to me twice a week, until he told me it was over. But in fact, it was not over. On New Year's Day, when I woke up from sleep, I found myself in my grandmother's apartment with the book next to me and the cat in the bathroom. I rushed running out of the apartment like crazy, and I called this sheikh, told me that we must do new vaccinations. But do you see next year this topic will be repeated with me or not?